Hey guys, it's Robin, and this is Robster FPL, and this is Game Week 3 team selection. So a quick recap of what happened in Game Week 2, and it was rather disappointing. Going from rank around 1 million, dropping down a big red arrow to 1.6 around there. 1.6 million in the board means a not so good start. I can hold my hand up and say I did make a mistake or two in my team selection. And if you look through the Game Week 2 points, it's actually not that bad. Defensively, double up of Lewis Dunk and Sanchez paid off. Tsimikas with the assist and clean sheet did really well. Shaw got a bonus point, so at 4 points. So my back four, I'm really happy with. The big hitters of Fernandes and Salah both didn't come off, which is rather disappointing if you have so much money invested in two players and neither of them get an assist or a goal. Morris not starting. Yes, he came off the bench and got a goal. But him not starting against Norwich when I backed on him to be my differential that pushes me forward is really, really disappointing. So he's someone that even though if I take him out now, all of a sudden he scores a hat-trick against Arsenal, there's just so much rotation fears around someone like Morris. De Bruyne is still injured, but as far as last season and years gone by has gone, the only person that's really not a rotation fear in this City team is Kevin De Bruyne. That is an actual FPL asset. Diaz is probably another one. But besides from those two, there's too much rotation risk. I thought John Stones was going to be solid because he finished the season really, really well. And I thought he would get the Game Week 1 off because of the Euros and then back in Game Week 2. But now Laporte played really well in Game Week 2 and Pep has confirmed that Laporte will play in Game Week 2. So where Stones is going to play? I believe Laporte and Diaz is actually the better combination and they're more talented centre-backs. So I feel like Stones is going to have a rough time getting back into the team now. And that was where I made my round call. Confirmation bias of trying to get Stones into my team. His stats looked really good towards the end of the last season. And I wanted him to start, but unfortunately I didn't. The whole plan in pre-season was to have Chilwell. What I should have seen is, okay, Chilwell's not going to play. Who's the next person in? Well, Alonso. Alonso's a really good asset when he plays. So if Chilwell's not going to play, Alonso should have been my option. But confirmation bias pushed me towards a City player. I was looking at Cancelo, probably would have been better. But I tried to save that 0.5 for Stones, and Stones' performance and points per game looked better towards the end of last season. So that's why I went for Stones. So therefore the City picks haven't worked off and haven't worked so well yet. But we'll talk about transfers in a second. Wrapping it up is Molly Starr. I'm still happy with it. 2 points. He is a 6 million guy. Previous week he got 9 points. So it's going to be hit or miss. You're not going to expect a 6 million guy to be consistently getting 30 goals a season or getting 200 points like you expect Salah or Fernandes to do. So I'm still fine with that. Yes, Benrahma has had a really, really stellar start to the season. But you have to flip a coin. Who do you believe long term in the first 7 weeks are going to do better? And that's what you have to choose. So on paper, I still believe that my choices were correct and my starting lineup wasn't a bad one. Stones, I can say, costed me a little bit. If I had a 4.5 guy there, I could have changed Ivan Toney to Mikel Antonio. That would have completely changed how my start of my season has looked. But unfortunately, mistakes have been made and it's a bit too late now. Mikel Antonio is already at 7.8 million as of time of recording. And Tony's also just gone down in price. So it's really not turned out as well because of this move right here. Callum Wilson, I'm quite happy with it. He didn't perform, but he had a penalty shot. He had a really good shot turned down by VAR. He had played really well. So the 1 point is not reflective of what he actually did. So it's not too bad of a pick. Yes, everyone's going to say Mikel Antonio. And I had my reasons for not picking Mikel Antonio, which now turns out, and it looks really bad. But just that's how it is. You can't have everybody. You have to look on paper what you think in the first start of the season, first 8 games, who's going to do better. And I made my pick. I think it's a bit too late to go to Mikel Antonio now. Just my luck. Like I want to put him in. He's in great form, but just my luck would be if I put him in right now, that's it. Brilliant first 2 games, and then for the next 6 he doesn't score. I feel like I want to keep consistency. Ings, excellent. 2 goals in 2 games. He's got his next 3rd game up. Needs to score this one, and then his fixtures turn. And that's when I'm going to likely take Ings out of my team. So, based on what I just said now, 53 points, sitting at 1.6 millionth in the world. Not a very good weekend. Game week rank 4 million. So it shows how bad this game week was for me. I was in the bottom tier of all FBR players, and it just didn't come off for me. Ben White will be a solid person on the bench still, so I'm not too worried about that. And Tsimikas will probably on the bench too. Stones, unfortunately, has to drop. Morris, unfortunately, has to drop. And the main reason why I'm going to do that, you're going to see in a second what I'm going to do. So if we look at defenders, I'm going to take 4.5 million defender. Right. Total points. There's a few names. Duffy looks good. But I can't put Duffy because I've got Dunk and Sanchez. I can't triple up at the back. I won't trust any of the Tottenham defenders because Romero just got signed. So who's it going to be? Sanchez or Dyer? Then Ghana, not sure because Aurier and Doherty are still there. Brentford had 2 clean sheets in 2 games. Probably a good pick, but I'm not going to trust it as much. I'm going to go with more tried and trusted Luke Ayling into my team at 4.5 million. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show to you in game week 3, when these fixtures turn, they play Brentford, but then it's Chelsea, Everton, Man United and Tottenham. I don't bank on them to score. Could be wrong, and he does score because Ings is a big game player and he doesn't do too bad, but I don't want to rely on that. So what I'd rather do, forwards. So let's just go for a placeholder. Put Kane in, I know it's 0.2 down on what I expect it to be. This is the placeholder for Ronaldo. Ronaldo's going to take all the penalties, Ronaldo's going to take all the free kicks, and he's going to be a focal point of an improved United that look like they're better on the offense. Fernandes, Pogba, Sancho, all of those players are going to be pinpointing at Ronaldo. Yes, he's 36 and turning on to 37, but he's a proven clinical goal scorer that's going to have all the responsibilities of penalties and free kicks. So that brings Bruno Fernandes' value right down. So my pick is to get Ronaldo in and probably for a week play with both of them. But the aim is to get, when Kevin De Bruyne is back from injury, to change Bruno to KDB so that you have the rotation of Salah, De Bruyne and Ronaldo as your main 3. Those are all big guys for penalties. I'm not too sure about Kevin De Bruyne if he's still on penalties, but main guys for free kicks and penalties, main creators and main threats in goal scoring. City still don't have an out-and-out striker, and based on recent events with 3-4 days to go in the transfer window, I don't think they'll have an out-and-out striker. Gabriel Jesus is looking really good on the right wing or the left wing, performed excellently on the right against Norwich, and there's been rumours and talks that that's his new role, moving out to the wing, as he's more creative and gets into the ball and goes past people a lot easier than being stuck in the middle. He can't really rely on with the ball back to the goal, and his runs in behind aren't as effective as they once were when he just got to City. Ferran Torres looks like he's the main striker, but I believe as De Bruyne comes back in and Foden comes back in, the whole season is going to be built around the false 9 system, where De Bruyne is mostly going to be the false 9, playing as a striker in theory. Therefore, that pushes De Bruyne's value up even more. So having Salah, De Bruyne, and Ronaldo as your main 3 more key players is going to be really, really big for me, and I hope that pushes me up again. So there action has to come. So as you can see, I've got 6.6 left. Ronaldo probably will be 12.5. I've got 6.4 left for the midfielder opportunities. 6.4 is where we're going. Let's just put on 6.6. I'm just out of Marco Rafinha, and that's okay. 6.4, who's going to be? Well, you might have guessed it. Excellent in the first 2 games. A goal in each and an assist in each. 12 points. You can't ask more from it. Crystal Palace and Southampton to come up. In those 2 games, he's nailed on to hopefully repeat itself. Yes, knowing my luck, those 2 games are going to completely blank, and then my rank's going to just start down even more. But at 25%, I have to jump in on either him or Antonio at this point. There is rumours of Lingard coming back to West Ham. Is that going to take Benrahma's position away? Is it going to be less effective? Most likely. But those are all rumours at this moment. And for this face value, for this week alone, I need to make a jump up. I need to take a bit of a risk. Yes, I can keep Morris in for this week while I wait to swap Ronaldo out. But who's going to be a better pick? Benrahma at home against Crystal Palace, who don't look too good, or Morris against Arsenal? Yes, Arsenal are in bad form, but it stays Arsenal. And in all likelihood, Morris won't start based on how good Jesus played in the previous game. I could be wrong. It's Pep. Pep probably hasn't even made up his mind. What, it's 7 hours before the game kicks off, and he probably still hasn't even decided what he's going to do. Pep Roulette is the ultimate downfall for FPL. I love him, and it's the best method to go to keep people happy in a squad with such depth. You have to rotate, but in FPL, you can't rely on anyone. So therefore, Saad Ben Rama is going to come straight into the team with a look to possibly rotating him out once Lingard comes back in, with Man United and Leeds following that. I'm hoping his form holds up, but if he doesn't, there's a couple of other players that I'm quite interested in. Joe Willock just went to Newcastle, played in the last week. I think it's going to take him a couple of games to hit the form of last season, where he went on a tremendous run. I think it was 6 in a row, 7 games in a row of scoring or assisting. It was some ridiculous run he went for Newcastle, and he's back in that team. And Adama Traore has looked really, really threatening for Wolves. He started and played all the minutes so far. Not all the minutes, but he's played majority of the minutes for Wolves. And he looks like he's nailed on to be a consistent pick. In both of the games, Game Week 1 and Game Week 2, he went clean one-on-one on the goal. Yes, the bad thing is he missed both of them. But he's got the most shots and the most big chances created for a winger, basically in the Premier League. He's in the top 3 of most big chances created, along with the likes of Ben Rama. Adama Traore is a real option going forward if Ben Rama's form deteriorates with the signing of Lingard. So that's something I'm going to keep eye on, because Wolves' fixtures turn really, really well after the next week. And that could possibly also be where Wilson moves to Jimenez. So I want to keep my eye on that. It looks like it's quite a few transfers nailed in. But for now, don't want to take any hits. 0 cost to it. Ayling and Ben Rama coming in. 4.6 million still in the bank to move Ings after the Brentford game to Ronaldo. Then I've got the choices to make. Could Jimenez come in? Could De Bruyne come in? That's probably more of a priority. But I'm quite happy with my defensive lineup, relying on Shaw and Dunk to be the main guys, and Ayling and White to swap out based on fixtures. If you look at this, they play Burnley, then Liverpool and Newcastle. So game week 4 is where you don't want to play him. Then White will be back for game week 4, and that's against Norwich. So as you can see, Arsenal and Leeds have a really good rotation for now for that third defender spot. Hopefully Tsimikas plays and keeps up the form, but I don't believe he's going to stay in the team for much longer, as Andy Robertson was already on the bench in the previous week, so he's going to get dropped out quite quickly. Otherwise, 3-4-3 is just the way it's going to have to be. Ivan Toney dropped in value, but I really need him now to start performing. 2 blanks in a row, but it's his next 3 games. After those, they have a really horrible run in from game week 6 to game week 9, but Aston Villa, Brighton and Wolves is where he really has to score. If he doesn't perform after those, you're going to have to be forced to sell him. Prices have really gone down. A lot of people are selling him already, but I have to hold some faith. There's not a lot of options around that 6 million mark. Adam Armstrong looked good in game week 1, not so threatening in game week 2. He was a nuisance to United, but not such a big goal threat. He should have scored, but he didn't. So there's an option or two. Watford strikers with Dennis and Cucho are options, but can't rely on them. So that's a big worry for me in the long term. He needs to start banking at least a goal every other week, at least a goal every 3 weeks. This week is where he has to do it to get up to that 15 goals for the season mark. But otherwise, not the greatest start, but I'm still optimistic. I'm taking fast action, don't letting the bias of being a Man City supporter get in my way. Yes, Tsimikas, Salah, Fernandes and Shaw are my rivals in a sense. I don't want the rivals of City to do that well, but in FPL you have to be unbiased, you have to do what you have to do and get in the team that you want to get in. And this is going to be my starting lineup for this week. Sanchez, Ayling, Shaw and Dunk. Not too bad of a defensive lineup. Yes, it's a double up against Everton, which isn't ideal, but I believe Brighton have looked really, really good in the first 2 game weeks, and they could do another clean sheet, double up, which could be really valuable for me. Star against Tottenham, not ideal. Tottenham have kept 2 clean sheets, but I can't really rotate him out, so let's see what he can do. Benyama against Crystal Palace. I hope he really pulls it off and continues his form as I've brought him in. The captain for this week, Bruno Fernandes, playing Wolves away Not always the easiest fixture, but they haven't looked that solid defensively under the new attacking coach. So let's hope Fernandes can keep up the hype. There's going to be a lot of hype with Ronaldo coming in, so let's see the high spirits can get Fernandes to have a really good game week this week. Salah against Chelsea. Chelsea have looked really, really strong, and I'm actually thinking that Chelsea might beat Liverpool this weekend, and Chelsea are really, really good defensively. So having Salah is still in contention, and he has to be in the team. He's a big hitter. You don't drop him, but he's not the captain option. Going into the front three, it looks like really, really good fixtures. Ings against Brentford, Wilson against Southampton, and Ivan Toney against Aston Villa. I went for 3 proper recognized strikers. Lots of other people put a 4.5 striker and just dropped for the 2 strikers. I went out on a limb, got 3 proper strikers. This is the game week where all 3 of them need to come off. They need to come off big for me so that I can quickly shoot up back into the top 1 million and start making a recovery after the poor last game week 2. On the bench, we have Foster, we have Tsimikas, White, and Brownhill. Not expecting much from him. White's still recovering, Foster injured. Tsimikas could play, but I don't really want to rely on any of these players on the bench. My bench is looking a little bit lacking at this moment. But it's the risk sometimes you have to take, prioritizing your team. And I've got 4.6 million in the bank. That's something to remember. Because this is very quickly going to become Ronaldo, and this could very likely become De Bruyne. So let's see what happens. Really excited for this game week. Big games this week. So this week is really, really big for me. Man City versus Arsenal. Really, really big fixture. Aston Villa versus Brentford. Striker v striker for me. Brighton versus Everton. Got a double up for Brighton. Newcastle against Southampton. I've got Wilson playing there. Norwich and Leicester is an interesting game. Don't really have anyone playing there. West Ham, I just got Benrahma against Crystal Palace. So this whole game week, I've got players playing against each other. And then I've got Salah playing here. Going on to Sunday, less exciting of a weekday there. Burnley versus Leeds and Spurs versus Watford. Can Sarr do something in the counter? Can he pull a Spurs on Spurs and just play defensive football and counter-attack teams? Hopefully that pulls off. And then Wolves against Man United. Is it going to be a Wolves upset? Can Bruno keep up his form? It's going to be a really, really interesting weekend, and I honestly can't wait. Let's have a big green arrow for this week, and let's pull it off. Side Benrahma is my call for this week. Can Leeds keep a clean sheet against Burnley? Those are my 2 transfers in with the look to bring in Ronaldo in the next week at the around 12.5 million mark. So it's planning for the future, but I need an instant impact from these guys now. Enjoy the game week, enjoy the footy, and remember, you're watching footy, you're supporting footy. Enjoy the footy. You've made your choices for FPL, now forget about it. In all honesty, I don't want Salah and Bruno to score. Don't really like them. I'm a Man City supporter. If their form is worse and they don't win games, it's better for Man City. But FPL is separate from my supporting bias. Take FPL on paper, enjoy it, strategize, but once the game week starts, forget about it. Because that's something in the past that's gone to me. Where confirmation bias also hinders my FPL, because I want to play FPL like I'm supporting Man City. No, you support Man City and you play FPL. But all of that, enjoy the game, enjoy game week. See you guys soon.